Well, you guys, good day. It is a good day. It's going to be a good day because we're cutting oats today. We're harvesting oats. You remember that a year ago when we combined those oats and we unloaded them in the lean-to and we fed them to our cows all winter? It worked so well last year that we decided we're going to go ahead and keep that as part of our annual flow. So what's going to happen today? We got to get Big Papa fired up. Just fired up the black Kenworth over there, 3 trucks down. 1, 2, 3, there it is. Got to get these grain trailers hooked up. Probably have a low tire or 2 on these semis. Need to go pump them up. Pump the jam. And get them out in the field. The neighbors are already here with their combine. They brought it over last night. They're putting the header on now. Wanting to get this cut this morning. We got to get them cut and put in the lean-to. I think later today, it sounds like, and the way the wind is stirring around this morning, I'm tending to believe the reports, but it's supposed to be some real violent thunderstorms, which this time of year can produce some pretty massive hail, which when your grain crops are totally ripe and the hail hits them, bam, bam, just like that, you knock all the heads off and you lose your deal. So hoping to have this cut and in the trailers by noonish, hopefully. Don't really know the yield. I've got these 2 big over-the-road hopper trailers that we're going to fill up. This is about the only use they're going to see this year because the hopper market has been so dismal. In the time that we have to go out and do hoppers, the time of year we have to go out over the road, there's been nothing going on. So they've sat. They're probably excited to get a little workout. So let's get to it. Aw, isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? Oh, buddies, lovers. It's always hard to say which cab overs to use. Really wanted to charge the batteries up on little sister and get her going. Have to unhook her from the walking floor. It's got all the hydraulic, not that it's a big deal to hook up, but anyway, we're kind of short on time. This kind of all just happened last minute. We know that our crop's ready to go. But exactly when it fits in with the neighbor's schedule to come combine it for us is always another question. And they came over yesterday and checked it out, and we're like, oh, let's do it now. And then they looked at the weather and said, let's definitely do it now. That alarm should be shutting off here momentarily. I haven't actually got to pull a load with this truck yet, so this will be nice. Speaking of nice, look at that glittery ball, huh? Okay, I'm back in the Kenworth. We're gonna run her down to the shop. I definitely got a couple low tires from the winter time on the drives of this old truck. So let's get down, pump a little air. I think this thing will be ready to head out. They just called me from the combine and said they're about an hour away from having a tank load of their first dump ready. So we'll send old Black out there first here. All right, let's get out and take a quick peek at these rigs real quick before we head out. Man, it's getting windy. Ooh, mama, look at that thing. Huh? These trucks are about, I think they're 2 years apart in age. Got that old school, man. Look at that, baby. Look at that sun going off the stack. Oh, my goodness. Oh, all right. Here we go, Kenworth. Got them tires all pumped up. There was a few low tires in there that need a little juice. A couple slow leakers. So, man, this is the truck that I really wanted to take out and do that little YouTube series on trucking old school. And I'll give you the explanation as I'm driving out here, because I don't particularly like when channels, you know, keep saying, oh, we should do this and we should do that and everything else, and they don't do any of it. And I realize that I can probably fall into that category at times, because my mind is always wanting. See the cab over in the mirror back there? Oh, you see it? Anyway, so when I bought this truck, I thought this is a perfect truck. It's in good enough shape. It has the right guts. It was the right price to take out and go run down the road and take you guys along, pull the hopper over the road and show you, like, wide open, like, be totally transparent with rates, fuel costs, insurance costs, everything associated with starting out a trucking business from scratch with cheap equipment. This truck was very cheap. Very cheap. And I had every intention to do that. However, the loads that I was going to do, of course, was take the hopper out, right, over the road, go haul stuff, and just show you how it's done out there, kind of how we do it and the way you can make it work. And the hopper market completely just fell through the floor this winter and spring. I no longer would encourage someone to get into trucking right now. It's a terrible time to get into trucking. Now's the time to get out of trucking. So it wouldn't make sense for me to go out with this truck, hook on the trailer. Yes, there's loads and we can haul loads for bad rates and things, but that is not what trucking is, right? Like, that's not what we're supposed to do. See how dry it's getting out here, man? We haven't had any meaningful rain in almost a month now. Getting dry. Could sure use a good little soaker to come through, and this stuff would kind of regrow, regreen. We're getting pretty short on pasture. We still have some rotations we can make, some stuff. This technically is stockpiled grass, but as dry as it is, it will not last long with cows on it. And we got a little more stockpiled over there, and then the hay bottoms where we put up the hay, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I won't do it. And what I mean by that is, I would not encourage anyone to go out and get into trucking with the market like it is right now. People should be staying home. One of my big philosophies in trucking is to do it debt-free and to not truck with a debt load with payments and such. And because that's the typical model, is having payments and running on payments and things, it somewhat, depending on how smart you are financially with your business, it causes you to have to truck, right? Like, you have to make these payments. If you didn't just stockpile a bunch of cash when times were really good, like during COVID, if you didn't stockpile that, you're forced to go out and run on these marginal rates that you shouldn't be running on, right? But you have to, because you have to make this payment. Whereas if you had stockpiled cash, you could just sit aside, and when a load pops up that works, fits the bill, pays what it should pay properly, not a load that just breaks even, but a load that actually pays a business like it should. Like any business, nobody goes out and does electrical work for break even. Nobody goes out and turns wrenches for break even. You don't do anything for break even. That's not what you do. But in the trucking world, that gets all thrown aside. Just it shouldn't be, but it is. That's just the way trucking is. It has been for years. That if you don't have cash stockpiled, you have to haul the loads that are junk. And as long as the loads that are junk get hauled, well, then the rates kind of stay junky, because they see that people are still willing. Eventually enough people will kind of fall out of, there's a little buzz in this thing somewhere down on the door panel. Enough people will fall out of the business model that rates will start to pick up again. But in the meantime, we just sit out to the side and we just take the loads that pay, and we don't mess with the ones that don't. Well, it's kind of one of your few looks at the hay bottoms this year. This out here was the wheat hay. It grew up as wheat and we baled it up. Actually made quite a few bales if you look out there. Pretty good, not too shabby. And over here on this side was the oat hay. It's a lot of old alfalfa still surviving from when we tore this up this spring that is volunteering and still holding strong. But these were the oat hay bales. And then if you look way out there through the dirty window, you'll see where the combine's at. You'll see the oats. That's the beginning of what we're gonna cut today. One of my favorite big cam Cummins deals. Do you hear that little whistle? These big cam Cummins are just known for that. They've always had that. When you get a straight pipe on them, they just have this beautiful little whistle. This beautiful little whistle. I love it. We also had some cows tear down a fence the other day. I don't know if some bulls were fighting or what, but they came out and they let us know that they like the oat hay bales just fine. Yeah, this is about the most off-roading this trailer's ever seen. She's not an off-roader. She's a roader. All right, y'all. Well, truck number one's parked back there. Old wee man Fring came out and picked me up. Surprised if you look kind of over Freddie's shoulder there, you'll see the straw windrows. I didn't think we were going to get much straw out of this particular variety, but as I'm looking at it here, it's quite impressive. That's another aspect of what we need to try to do today before the rain is maybe get all this straw baled up. Truck one's in the field, got a dump on it. Bring on number two. Who does number two? I need to wax this thing, don't I? See that? A little oxidation buildup. I'll be honest, being in this being in this cab over, it always makes me go, man, I really should just jump in this thing and run it. And then I start to remember fuel mileage and margins and how crappy rates are and everything else, and I'm like, just wait, your day will come again. We'll just keep you lubed up, keep the engine in good shape, keep everything squared away, and when the time comes, we shall spring forth. Like a spring of water in the desert, we shall arise. Windrows out there, isn't it? That is not bad at all. I think the plan is now I'm going to go stage this truck down. I think he should have enough capacity. He's not going to need a truck on this end of the field anymore. So Weed Man's behind me. I'm going to run over the hill here and stage this down at the bottom of the field. Looks like we're probably going to end up with a load and a half, probably about like we did last year. Pretty dang similar. So I have no idea on the acreage we planted. We just planted it. He's got an acre meter in his combine, so we'll find out when we get done just how many acres we put together and a rough idea of the yield and stuff out here on this dry land. But you know, a cool thing about this old Peterbilt, we went through the air conditioning several years ago and rebuilt it all, and it's still holding strong. I haven't fired it up and ran it since last year, and it's blowing ice cold. That makes me so happy, just ice cold. Okay, next phase of our little harvest operation. They're out combining. See the skid marks? Skid, skid, skid. Skid, skid, skid. Living up to its name out there, skid steer. Really the first problem we've ever had with the skid steer in 4 years now, I think. The parking brakes won't shut off. And on a skid steer, if you can't disengage the parking brake, you can't do anything. So you have to skid it out of the way. Any of you ever had parking brakes lock on a SSV 65 Kubota skid steer? Hit me up. All right, here we go. It sounds like we got about, I don't know, 2 hours maybe before the winds and the rains. Looking off to the west, I see a building out there. So we're just gonna hustle our little buns right along here. That combine had a 38 foot header. So great big old giant swaths, should go pretty fast. Very wide windrows, I might add. If you look down, pretty much takes up the whole pickup. It's a little bouncy. Oh man, it's building up over there. It's building fast. In fact, I'm gonna have to switch strategies here. I've got the tarps open on these two trailers. Neither of these trucks are wired. These are electric tarps, and neither one's wired to shut these tarps. So I'm gonna fire up, I think. Usually these storms build like this, and then they end up dissipating left or right. It's rare that we get one right down the barrel. But that being said, I don't want to have open tarps here, so I'm gonna fire up and build some air up in the cab over here so that it's ready to go, and then I'm gonna go fire up the Kenworth and take it in. Gonna go take the Kenworth in, where I will plug it into some power and get that tarp shut. In fact, had I been thinking, I would have fired up the Kenworth on the way back by, then it'd be full of air and ready. I think I'll still be okay. It builds for a while here. As far as the baling goes, straw does not matter at all whatsoever if it gets rained on. When it dries out, you just come bale it up again. So the grain is obviously the priority. The straw is get it done if we can. There's only an hour's worth of baling out here. It won't take long. Now that I've made a couple passes, I see how quick it'll be. Isn't that so funny though, how life works that way, where you're like, we haven't had rain in a month, and one day that we have where we're cutting our oats, all of a sudden it's like, here I come, and I will never complain about the rain. So in fact, I hope that it comes and rains some just monstrous, crazed 1-inch deluge downpour, hail, I mean, bring it on, bring it all on. I want it all. I want it all. I want the whole thing. I'm okay with that because we need it. So as long as I get my tarp shut first, bring it on. All right, Skinny Kenny is fired up. We call it Skinny Kenny. It's fired up. Needs a minute or two to build some air. In the meantime, I'm just gonna go down and back. But look at that, she is coming. She is coming for us. Here we go. Everything's in, everything's good. Just for you guys, this is just for you. We'll Jake break it down into the wash here. Totally unnecessary, I know, but it's all right. We got a big berm right there on the road that you don't want to drive over with a trailer. If you're wondering why I'm going around, now we can get back on the road. We got one more of those on the way in that's pretty gnarly. And here's the second one. This one's a little more unforgiving and a little more tricky to get around because you can't just go out. Nice and easy, baby. Climb there. We got her. And you watch, now that I'm going through all this effort to bounce around and get these in and tarped, I bet it's not gonna rain. One of those, you know how it is, I don't need to remind you, but had I not run like mad to get these in and get another truck with electricity to shut the tarps, I would have got rained on. Now that I'm doing the preventative measures, it's probably not gonna come. Okay, see this two-pronger, you guys? You got enough. This two-pronger goes in there. That gives power to the tarp to close it. See there? Shut her down, Charlie Brown. Lightning in the skies. Get out of the way. Banged my head on that real nice. Then we got to just use this power to do the same thing to the other truck. You're probably wondering, why didn't you just use the other truck to do this in the first place? Well, that wouldn't be any fun. To let all the old trucks just sit around while the new ones do all the work. All right, she's tarped, she's ripped, she's wrapped. This will be good. Isn't that a cool setup, you guys? Oh, I just love it. Blackety black. Don't talk back. All right, just like that, we're in the old Pete Scabby Cabby. Turning her around. He ended up, I didn't tell you earlier. Yeah, so we got one full semi-load, and then he ended up putting one dump into this truck. That was off of 31 acres that we had to combine. Last year we combined 70 acres, and we got a load and a half. So ironically, it's been so dry this year compared to the previous, but we still got a much better yield this year. It was a different variety as well. So anyway, getting a few raindrops on the old windshield here. So We're gonna scoot this thing in just as expeditiously and safely as possible without rattling the old girl apart, huh? About into the yard. We'll get her tarped and see what this brings us. If not much comes out of it, we'll go bail up the rest of that. Big old lightning blast over there. Got the juice. Push the button. There we are. Beautiful. Got a few drops in there, but nothing I'm worried about. Awesome. Tarped. Bring it on. Can you see it over there? Here it comes. It's coming fast. Hey, we made the right call. We're getting it. Very good. Bring it on down. Well, everybody, I was going to film on, but this rain is going to go ahead and shut things down, right? We got in a good stopping point. Grain is well in hand. We're going to unload it over in that lean-to right there, but can't do that till things are dried off. Probably tomorrow, a little later on. We'll film that and show you. Get this auger set up over there. Get old weed man with a shovel in his hand. We'll be good to go. You guys, I hope you enjoyed that. That was just kind of a unexpected, not impromptu. I mean, we knew we were harvesting, but didn't know exactly when, and all of a sudden, bam, there we were. We put it together, we got her done. We got to bale the rest of that straw, hopefully tomorrow afternoon, and get these trucks unloaded. I'll take you along for the rest of that. You guys, until next time, be good.